podcast listener. If you're sick of playing small in life and want to transition to a bolder, better you, you're in the right place. I'm Kimberly Rich, and this is the Bold Life Movement podcast. From business, money, marketing, and systems, to spirituality, self-love, creativity, and personal growth, each week, the Bold Life Movement will bring you inspiring stories from real people. Learn from successful entrepreneurs, innovators, best-selling authors, and creators, and leverage your own inner boldness to create an unconventional and truly rich life. Welcome back to the Bold Life Movement podcast. This is episode number 47. You may have noticed that we skipped putting out an episode last week. And I did this because as much as I believe in consistency, I also think it's important to take a breather every now and then. So while I was spending the week in Costa Rica on a women's retreat led by past guest Emily Nolan, I wanted my production team to take a breather as well. Now that I'm back to the land of Wi-Fi, and I've been sharing a bunch of videos and pictures all over social media from the trip. So be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram, both under the Bold Life Movement. You can just search it and I should come up. And if you want, go ahead and join my newsletter at theboldlifemovement.com. That way you can stay updated when I share the full breakdown of the trip. It was such a transformative and cleansing experience. And after just 7 days, I now have new sisters and a new outlook on my life and business. So stay tuned for more details on that. Now, let's dive into today's episode. I'm super excited to share today's conversation with Michelle Poler. I first saw her speak this past summer at the World Domination Summit, and she inspired me in so many different ways. She's best known for her 100 Days Without Fear challenge, where she documented herself conquering a new fear each day for 100 days. And she managed to complete this challenge, posting videos, writing posts, and responding to fans, all while having a full-time job and going to grad school. So whatever excuses you're telling yourself about not having enough time to go after your dreams, Michelle's a good inspiration of what's possible. Really, it wasn't long before some major media outlets caught wind of what she was doing, and her YouTube channel blew up. Even more than that, though, she's inspired me by building a movement that empowers people to go out and conquer their fears. So if you want more information about Michelle, be sure to check out the show notes at theboldlifemovement.com/047 or watch our interview on YouTube at theboldlifemovement.com/YouTube. That's right. In case you've forgotten, we now do all interviews as video, so it's a much more intimate experience with me and the guest. All right, let's go ahead and kick things off. Please welcome the one and only Michelle Poler. Awesome. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on. I'm really excited to connect. Like I said offline, I loved your speech at World Domination Summit, and I think the 100 Days Without Fear challenge was so awesome. Or 100 Days of Fear, is that right?
Without fear.
Okay. 100 Days Without Fear. I think it's such an inspiring story, so I'm excited to give you a chance to share it with my audience.
Awesome. Well, thank you for inviting me.
Definitely. So one of the first questions that I had, and I feel like you must get asked this all the time, you were doing the challenge amidst grad school and having a job. How logistically did you make that happen?
That was crazy. Like, that was the scariest part of doing this entire project, how I was going to handle all this. So I can tell you what my schedule looked like a little bit. So I would have to be at work every day at 9 a.m. around that time. I was an art director in advertising. I was working for Young and Rubicam, so I had to be there every single day. Then I would use my lunchtime to go face a fear.
Oh, wow.
If my lunchtime, I had something else that I couldn't face a fear, then I would do something in the morning before going to my job. For example, one day I went to Brooklyn Bridge to watch the sunrise by myself, which was something that I was always so scared about, like, being at that time by myself.
Yeah.
But I had to do it because I had my lunchtime busy with something else. And then, or I could face my fear at night. So I would use my lunchtime normally to face fear. And after that, I would have to go to school. Every single day of the week, I had classes from 6 to 9:30. So, yes. So I would be home around 10:30, 11 at night. Depends on the class.
Yeah.
And first I would have to do my homework for the next day because every day was a different class. We literally had 5 different classes. So yeah, I had to do my homework, and then finally around like 1 a.m., I had time to edit my video because every day it's not just going and facing the fear, it's editing the video so I can share that on YouTube the next day, like the next morning, so other people can see that I actually face my fears. So it was really crazy, and I'm glad that I had also my husband, that he was helping me throughout the entire process to help me come up with the fears and plan them also.
I was going to say planning,
yeah.
logistics, editing.
Yeah.
There's so many things that go into each day's video.
Yeah, so some were not so complicated and they didn't need like planning. For example, one day I was at my office and said, you know what, maybe I'll just go to the zoo, the Central Park Zoo that is like a couple blocks away from the office, and I can feed the animals and do, you know, like what's it called, like
the petting.
Yeah, the petting zoo. I'm terrified. I never liked that when I was a kid, and I never tried it again. So I went
they're big animals when you're a kid.
Yeah, so you have to put your hand and wait for them to lick it, like and this. That I can't. So thank God for selfie sticks, because most of these challenges I just had to record myself. So I went with my GoPro. I have it.
I was going to ask what camera you used.
Yeah, so I was using this GoPro with this really long selfie stick, like I can enlarge it. Yeah. And I would just record myself doing these challenges. And then, so some of them like this, I didn't need to plan. But for example, when they start to get bigger, like for example, doing skydiving, rappelling, trapeze, like zip lining, all these things that you need to actually call companies and ask for sponsorship, because it was getting actually really too expensive by some point.
That was going to be my next question, was like, how did you fund it? Because that's a lot of activities.
Yes, yeah, it was crazy. At the beginning, my husband said, you know what, we're going to fund this project because I believe in it. I believe that you really need to face your fears, and this is a great opportunity to do it. But then we were in around, I don't know, day 30 something, and then he said, you know what, this is getting really expensive, actually. Like, each little fear costs money, and it's one a day. Yeah. So we're spending thousands of dollars also maintaining the website, you know, buying the music, the rights for the music, all of these things, they cost money. So thankfully, the project went viral like a day after he said that. And after the project went viral, we had more than 4 million views on our YouTube channel, more than 20,000 subscribers. So after that point, we didn't have to pay for absolutely anything else.
Wow.
We would just he would call companies, for example, for skydiving, which is really expensive, and say, hey, we just went viral doing this. Would you want to be part of our channel? You would have to sponsor our jumps, like my jump and his jump.
He's like, yeah, I'm coming with.
Exactly. Like, I'm, taking advantage of all of this that's happening to face my fears, which he's not really afraid of them, but so, and companies would just say, yeah, of course. And that was awesome, because it's not just me going as a random person, but they're expecting me. They know
treat you differently.
Yes, they treated me really differently. Since they wanted me to portray them as, nice on my channel, they would like treat me really nice and give me the best stuff. So I knew they were giving me the best person to skydive, and I felt very confident that nothing was going to happen.
Yeah, that's an awesome perk that I hadn't even thought about. Was it a particular video or fear that helped the channel to go viral?
I don't think so. I think it was the concept in general and the name. People really liked 100 Days Without Fear. Like, it's very catchy. People immediately were intrigued by this, and it made a nice headline. So whenever you see it somewhere, other publications wanted to also have that on their site. So I'm not sure if it was one specific or the entire project, but people were just talking about the entire concept of what I was doing.
Yeah. So it sounds like you didn't sleep at all during this process. How long would
Yeah.
it take you to edit the videos?
So they would take me like 1 hour and then another hour to, because I was also answering every day the same questions. So every day I would, write what was the fear, why were you afraid to face this
Yeah,
fear,
the blog
and
portion of
the
the
blog for yeah, and
entrances.
how was it? So I would
Yeah.
have to, because in my videos I was very expressive with my face, but I would not speak.
Oh,
So
there's
I
no
would
sound. Okay.
there's like music and faces, but I just dive into the fears right away. There's not like
Yeah.
I'm going to do this now, so wish me luck. No, no, no. There's like I would record those scenes and I would never add them into the video because I don't like to speak to the camera. I didn't like how I looked speaking to camera, how I sounded. So I always took that part out, and it
Interesting.
was just me very expressive with my face, and that's it. So I would tell how it went and everything on the blog portion of it. And also I had an emoji meter that I had to
Yeah,
fill
I love
up
that.
every day, saying the level of fear before, during, and after each of the challenges. So, and then uploading the video, just saving the video takes like 30 minutes,
I
and
know just
uploading.
exporting it. People don't
Yes.
realize doing that now for the podcast, now that it's video, was something that I hadn't anticipated, I think, during the first week. It takes time.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So imagine it's 3 a.m. and this thing is loading and loading, and then I have to upload, and then I have to do a thumbnail
Yep.
that is intriguing and clickable, and then I have to think of a title. All these things take so much time. So I was sleeping around 3 to 4 hours a day, but I was so happy and excited that I didn't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like when you have that pull towards something that you know you're meant to be doing and you feel inspired, you don't need as much sleep. You don't need like the normal stresses that would distract you. You don't have any space for them.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't care about like eating out, like
Yep.
doing the normal things I would, care about and be, I don't know, looking forward to. I didn't care. I'm like, yeah, I was just doing my project and so happy about it.
I love it.
And
So, oh, go ahead, hon.
no, and I even had to quit my job because going back to the schedule, it was just so crazy that when the project went viral, can you imagine adding something else on top of the craziness that I was already living? Then I had thousands of emails coming
Yeah.
in every day with either people telling me or asking me advice or telling me that they really appreciate what I'm doing, that I needed, well, I wanted to respond to all of them. And also all the press saying, when can we interview you? We want to face fears with you. Then I had no time to face fears because I was so
Yeah.
busy doing this that at that point, my boss called me and said, I know you're so busy and everything, but please let us know at least a month in advance before you quit, if you are going to quit. Like they were really worried of me just leaving them.
Yeah.
And
Were
that
you like,
same day,
I
I
need to quit?
quit.
Yeah.
That same day, I was like, I'm so sorry. I can't handle this anymore. I'm going to like have, I don't know, a
A
stroke
panic
if I
attack.
keep going. So I'm sorry. And
Yeah.
I actually worked for 2 more weeks and that's it.
Wow. So are you using your master's degree at all now?
I feel that I learned so much during that time about branding,
Yeah.
human behavior, like pattern recognition, strategies, that everything that I learned, I'm actually putting it into my everyday, like my presentations, even, yeah, my podcast interviews, everything that
Yeah, for
I
sure.
say. Yeah, it's inspired by things that I learned. So,
I mean, I can even see evidence of it in your background, the aesthetics of your office and stuff. And for
yeah.
people who weren't at World Domination Summit, the whole speech you gave definitely had a very cohesive brand. And I think that was part of the reason that it was so fun to watch.
Yeah, and the entire project was very much branded. Since
Yeah.
was part of my branding program to start this project, I really cared about branding the project since the beginning. So, like putting some guidelines
Mm.
and in every aspect, like from my tone of
Yeah.
every video, every fear that I was going to face, the visual aspect of it, the emoji meter, all these things were just part of a brand that helped my project resonate with people and have them follow every day.
I think that's a really great takeaway for people, because I have a lot of listeners, I think, who are launching projects or personal brands. And so having the foresight before you launch to decide what that brand looks like so that it is easier for people to latch onto. I remember when I was in Portland walking around after the conference, I saw some earrings that I tagged you in a picture of. They're the little emojis of your brand. And I was like, these immediately made me think of Michelle and the speech I saw yesterday. So
it's like that. Many people tag me when they see the emoji, like the specific emoji that I use, and all the different assets that I bring into my brand. And they're like, oh, this reminds me of you. And that's so awesome.
It's so fun. Very effective. So I want to know, what were some of your favorite or the most fun fears that you face? Because obviously some are going to be a little bit more challenging physically or emotionally, but what were the funnest ones?
So definitely the first moment where I felt that I experienced real happiness in my life was the moment where I did the challenge in which I danced like no one's watching in the middle of Times Square. So I don't know, that was a very random one that I don't know who suggested to do this. And I called a friend from college that he was here in New York, and I said, would you want to go dance in the middle of Times Square like no one's watching and record this, because he's a really good filmmaker? And he's like, of course, let's do it. So we went to Times Square. He was supposed to record me, not dance with me. And I put on my earphones and started a song that I liked and started dancing like crazy. And first I was shaking because I was like, what am I doing? I look like this crazy person and no one's listening to the music, just me. But then I said, you know what, I can, have all my fears, make this experience a really bad one, or I can get rid of my fears and try to enjoy this moment, because I do love to dance, and that song was making me dance like crazy and I was loving it. So I decided to go with that path and started dancing like crazy, started enjoying it so much to the point that my friend dropped his camera and started dancing with me. He's like, this looks like so much fun, I can't miss it. And then other people started joining, like random people there started joining and dancing with us, and it turned into a whole movement that night, and tourists were taking pictures and video of us. I don't know, it turned into so fun. One of the best experiences of the entire project. And that day I said,
so when you walk up to Times Square, it's that area where people are just sitting in the lounge chairs, right? So it's almost like even more of a contrast between what you're doing and what everyone around you is doing. So even scarier.
But they're in New York. They're expecting
totally
a little bit of craziness. So they're not too surprised. Like, I'm not going to an office building and doing this. It's outdoors. It was MLK. Yeah, MLK's weekend. Last year, and it was packed Sunday night actually, and in that moment I thought to myself, wow, I can't believe how happy I feel, like genuinely happy. I don't think I was this happy ever in my life, not even in my wedding or graduation or my 21st birthday. Like,
yeah, that's so awesome. So what about kind of on the other end of the spectrum? Is there any fear challenge that you did where you were like, no, I really just didn't enjoy that, I never want to do that again?
Yes, and I'm so disappointed because the one that I really wanted to like was roller coasters, because that's something that's been limiting in some way my life. Obviously not on a day-to-day. It's not like every day you go to an amusement park. But, there's always that plan that everybody gets excited when someone mentions Disney World, and they're all like, yeah, let's go to Orlando. And then I'm like, no, please, I wouldn't hate that, because I'm the only one that, I'm so scared of roller coasters. But I never did it in my life. I did it when I was very little, and I remember I hated it so much that I never tried it. Even my family would sometimes say, like, if I give you $100, would you do it? I was like, nope, not even for like $1,000. Yeah. But when I started this project, I knew I was going to say yes to things and try to, forget about the fear for a little bit. And then when the time came, me and my husband, we went to Coney Island here in New York, and we went up to the roller coaster, and my husband kept saying, you see, it's so small, so small, so small. And I was in my mind like, he's crazy, it's huge. But he somehow convinced me that it was not that big. And I said, okay, maybe it's not the biggest one, so it's okay. And I did it, and I really didn't like it. I was like, oh no, I don't think I want to do this again. Like, if I have to, I would, but I really hope I
Yeah.
don't. And then people were saying, what? You did that one? That's huge. And I'm like, you see?
A little validation, that helps, right?
Yes.
How did you guys get the camera on the roller coaster to record?
Wow, he's actually now the expert of holding cameras in very difficult and awkward situations. So if you watch the video, it's actually him just holding this same GoPro.
Wow. They
So
let him do that?
okay, so we asked, and we were really nervous for them to say no, because then I would not do the experience. Like, if I can't
Yeah.
prove that I did it, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, no effing way.
Maybe not this time. So they told me that I had to go get a permission somewhere else in the park, and we did it, and they approved it. I was very surprised they allowed it. I feel this is very dangerous. This could
Yeah,
have like
because if
hit
it
someone.
flies off, yeah.
Yeah. But he holds on to this really tight, and then he's the first person you see. Then you see me in the middle, and then this old guy in the other side, like to my left side. He's enjoying every second of that. So if you can watch that video, like, watch it and then rewatch it, just focusing on that guy, because you will have a lot of fun watching him.
That's so funny. I love getting the behind the scenes version of some of these challenges, because people don't realize, like, there's a lot of steps that go into you getting that video up online, you know, and the story that goes with that fear challenge. So the permission slip is really interesting.
I'm sure like people wonder when they see the videos, like, who was holding the camera? Who did this? How did you get to, for example, I did crowd surfing for one
Yeah.
of the videos, and the band actually invited me on stage, and then they asked people to help me face a fear. So I'm sure people would wonder, how did she get the band to do this for
Yeah.
her?
Did you
And
get used to, I imagine this is a fear that you may have had to face in the beginning, but you get used to approaching people and saying, hey, this is a project I'm doing. Can you help me out? Can you, let me here, support me there, that kind of thing?
so yeah, that's still a fear of mine, to approach people and mostly to ask something from
Ask
them.
them. Yeah.
So that was always a challenge. Like, it never got easier to do that. There's, for example, one of the challenges that I even approach homeless people,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, in the street of New York, and that was like the big challenge of actually asking other people to, like, things, and approach them, and I don't know, that was a tough one. But for the concert, for example, it was my brother. Like, I
Oh,
had some
nice.
help. So my brother would ask the band, because he worked with them at some point. So that was
Awesome.
good. Yes, and also he helped me face the fear of getting old. But I
The makeup one?
put makeup. Yeah, I put makeup to look
Yeah.
like a 90-year-old person. So he works at Condé Nast here in New York. So
Yeah.
we did that for Glamour magazine, and it was all him. So I'm glad I have him.
Yeah, that's an awesome connection. I think that's a great example, though, of tapping into the network that you already have. Chances are lots of people listening know someone who knows someone that could
Yeah.
support them in whatever project or business that they're starting. So,
Yeah, and I would say Facebook is an amazing
yeah.
tool for this. So every time I needed something, even an idea, I would just put it out there. Like, that's a fear that I feel some people would have,
Mm,
to ask for things, and
yeah.
mostly it's people that they know, and they don't want to be perceived as, oh, I'm asking, I don't know, I can't figure it out on my own, so I need help. But actually, it's a great tool, and I would say take advantage of it. So that's, for example, how I built my list.
Mm,
I actually, on my own, I only wrote 20 fears. And then I couldn't keep going. So at that point, I decided to go to Facebook. I said, I have almost 2,000 friends here. I'm
yeah.
sure they will have some ideas. And I actually was very vulnerable, asking and letting them know this project that I'm going to get into, exposing myself that way. And it was a great thing to do, because they helped me so much. Like, I have more than 60 comments in there, people saying list of things like, you should go do karaoke, or you should, help homeless in the street, or you
Yeah.
should, all these things and ideas that I never even thought about. So actually, that took my list from 20 things to 60 things.
That's awesome. And so were they things that you did genuinely have a fear about that you hadn't thought of before? Or were they some things where you're like, I know a lot of other people would be scared of this, so I'm going to do it on behalf of them?
No, not one of the fears that I face is something that I was not scared
Yeah.
of. Like, because many people ask me, how can you face the fear of heights? How can I face fear of heights if I don't have that fear?
Yeah.
So it was not going to be genuine. Many videos I never even uploaded because I thought I was scared of doing something. I went, did it, and actually didn't feel scared doing it. So
Yeah.
I didn't upload those because I was like, this is really stupid. Actually, I don't feel fear or something. Like for
Yeah.
example, those big the boats that are like super fast. I don't know that
A
in the
speedboat?
water. Speedboats,
Yeah.
yeah, that. I was like, oh, it's outside of my comfort zone. It's not like I'm scared of it, but it's outside of my comfort. So I went, did it, and it was so much fun that I never felt scared one time. So I was like, I'm not going to upload this. This is
Yeah.
just fun. So yeah, I actually was really scared of all the ones that I did upload.
Yeah, I love that. So I know that, seeing you speak at World Domination Summit is something that has unfolded since doing the challenge. What are some other amazing opportunities that have come about just from, posting these videos online?
So when the project went viral, we were bombarded by opportunities
Mm.
and things that we couldn't even believe that people were, approaching us for these things. For example, we got approached by CAA, which is the biggest talent agency
Yeah.
company. Yeah. And yeah, and I had no idea who they were, and they wanted to represent me for a book, for a
Wow.
TV show, for a movie, for everything. And I was like, no way, this is like too crazy. And we actually pitched TV shows and movies, and I got to meet really cool people through this. So we are now focusing mostly on the speaking because I'm not sure like exactly the TV show I want to do or exactly the how I would turn this into a movie. So
Mm.
I think that if we do that, we will do it in the future. Right
Sure.
now, I know for sure what I want to do. I want to keep speaking. I now want to speak to younger girls. I want to focus on that. I love doing my YouTube channel, so that's what I want to keep doing. And now more than ever, I'm going to start a new series on that. And
What would the new series be about?
so, as I told you, I'm now focusing on the younger generation of girls mostly. So, this new series will be like me speaking to my younger self.
Mm.
So, I was this really, really scared kid when I was growing up, and I was actually fine with it. I thought that life was easy if you're scared of things and you say, oh, I'm scared of that, I'm scared of this, then people would leave you alone and you're comfortable. I was too comfortable for my entire life. And now I look back and I say, I was not living. Really, I
Yeah.
missed out on so many opportunities and things, and because of all my fears. So I feel that I have a strong message I want to communicate to younger girls, and they are on YouTube, which
Yeah.
is awesome. So I'm now,
Go where your people are.
scripting. Yes, so I'm scripting now all my videos. I'm going to start recording next week, and probably in January I will launch the series.
That's so exciting. Well, definitely keep me posted and we'll be sure to update the show notes with that link. Do you have a link already? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
your
yeah. So
YouTube channel.
yeah, it's my same YouTube
Okay.
channel, which is Hello Fears.
Okay.
I used to have a series called WTF Are We So Afraid of? But I figure it was a little bit all over the place. It has really, really good content, really good videos in there, but I wasn't speaking to one specific audience. And that's really important. And that's the basic thing of branding. You need to find your audience, and then everything you do has to be relevant for them.
Yeah. So my question or counter to that, because I share that same message with people that I work with who are trying to launch a personal brand, is like find your ideal client, speak to them. But it seems like something like the 100 Days Without Fear challenge appealed to so many people. So how does something so widely appealing become so successful if we're also teaching that you should niche down? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, and that's what happened to me, that fear is so universal
Mm,
and so relatable to absolutely everyone. Everyone has fears. Like the one that says they don't have fear, they do have fear. They just don't know it. But
yeah.
so everybody has fears. And this project appealed to, like older men and younger girls and absolutely everyone. So that's why I never was able to narrow down my audience. I was too afraid to do that, honestly. That
Yeah.
was my fear. Because if I would be closing doors to other
Yeah.
audiences by, targeting one specific one. But what I realized is that I'm never going to be that relevant to anyone if I keep just trying to appeal to absolutely everyone. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what's been happening after the project ended. I want to talk to fear,
Mm,
to entrepreneurs, to teenagers, to all these people, and I can't. I have to find my niche and stick to that, and I'll just try that. I'm saying to people that they should fail, like fail, attempt things, fail again, and I think I have to do that myself. Fail.
yeah. That's such a good message. I feel like personally I needed to hear that. Um, Going back just a little bit, I think that one of the reasons the 100 Days Without Fear was so successful is because even if you weren't intentionally targeting a specific person, you were intentionally being yourself, your like true self in a consistent way throughout the project, in the branding, in the videos, in your facial expressions, all of that was you. And so I think that's appealing to people. So,
Hmm.
yeah, big fan.
Yay.
So,
Yeah, yeah. I actually had to brand myself a little bit too and say,
yeah.
who am I? Okay, what are my characteristics? And then how do I show that? And even my way of dressing up changed a lot since the beginning of the project till now. Like I now have a very consistent way of dressing up for everything that I do. I really want to keep it consistent and very ownable.
Yeah, yeah, I love that, and it's very recognizable. I mean, I can see the thread between what you wore at WDS, what you're wearing now, your glasses. Like it all fits and it feels good for the viewer because it's familiar.
Yeah.
So I think
Hmm.
that's really interesting. I'm curious what fears have popped up for you since the challenge wrapped up and all these new experiences are coming.
So the most recent fear that we keep facing every day is the fact that my husband quit his job to join forces with me in this project that we're doing, this movement that we are
Yeah,
building. And so that was really scary because the day I quit, it was scary, but at least we had one stable income
yeah,
coming in every month that we could rely on. But now it's up to us to earn every single dollar that comes our way, and we have to work so hard and hustle a lot every day to fulfill this dream.
so
So
how are you all monetizing the project now that the challenge has wrapped up and it's kind of in a new phase?
So that was the big question throughout the project. People would ask, so what's next? And how are you going to turn this into a business or monetize this? And we had no idea until I gave my TEDx talk, which was the last fear
Mm,
of the project. And we met there, one of the speakers, Jason Dorsey, he speaks on generations. He's really awesome. And he grabbed my husband, Adam, and told him, hey, you should put Michelle, bring her and turn her into a speaker, do everything you need to do because this is a way that you can monetize the project and what you're doing, and at the same time do this amazing thing, which is inspiring the world to
yeah.
face their fears. So we had no idea about this as a career, so we started to do everything he told us, and that's how we're monetizing through the talks right now. So that's why he was able to quit his job.
Yeah.
He saw there's an opportunity here. People were starting to hire me and pay good money for speaking. So he said, okay, then, and not only paying, but being extremely happy that they did. And the feedback was so awesome that made him feel like, okay, there's real value here.
Yeah.
Because at first we would feel like imposters, like, wait, they're paying how much for me to go for an hour and speak? Like, that's crazy. But then now we see the results, the impact, and the feedback that we say, wow, this is really actually, we're making a difference.
Yeah. I think
So,
that you're such an awesome example of, someone who's like, I want to speak to inspire. I think that there's a lot of confusion about speak to inspire versus speak to sell. And, you're able to monetize your ability to speak to inspire. And that's awesome. And I think a lot of people think that that's not possible. So
it is so possible. Like whatever experience you have, good or bad, probably you have something to share and to inspire others with that experience. Like if it was a good experience, then you can share how you got there and what went right and what steps you did in order to get there. So that's awesome. People would love to learn about it so they can do it as well. And if it went bad, you can tell them what you did wrong, what you learned, all of it. And that's inspiring as well, because I think it's important for people to put out their failures and the times they were rejected and all of this, because that just makes you human and relatable.
Yep.
And that's what I also want to do even more. Like, I've been thinking, like, you know what? Recently, I haven't been sharing my fears, like what scares me moving forward, or, my fears in general, like fear of failure, rejection, all of this. Maybe I should do a video right now about that, how I feel. And it's scary because then people, they see you up here and you don't want them to then say, oh, you're not that special, you're like one of us. But what causes that is that at the end they see you as a real person and they say, you know what, you're struggling. That's actually, thank you for letting me know, because now I feel that I'm able to do that as well. I'm struggling as well, so why can't I achieve my dreams and all?
Yeah. Taking yourself off of the proverbial pedestal like helps people reconnect with you again, and that's how you can continue to inspire them, is when they trust you and they know that you're one of them.
Yes, and actually we've been very surprised, because the comment that I get the most after my talks is, you're such a real person. Mm-hmm. Like if I would record my entire life, I could just do a 1 hour, little snippets of people telling me, you're a real person, you're such a real person, because that's what they see in me. They connect to that, and then that inspires them a lot. They say, if she did it, if she faced fear, why can't I? Yeah. She's not this superstar. She's just a regular girl, and she faced her fears, and look where she is now. And that inspires people to do that.
Yeah, it's an awesome story. 100%. One of the things that I wanted to acknowledge you for is, I feel like when I saw you speak at WDS, you had a very natural ability to be approachable and entertaining, but still like synthesize the narrative of your challenge in such a way that it was a very impactful message. And I think that that's like an innate skill that you have. So I wanted to acknowledge you for that.
Thanks.
Did you have speaking experience before you started the challenge?
No, before I started the challenge, I didn't. When I started the master's in branding, I was asked to present all of my projects like on a weekly basis. So we started presenting very often, and I would always enjoy it very much. Like, even though I have that fear of speaking in public and I was not doing it perfect or anything, I kind of enjoyed, speaking and conveying a message. I never in my life thought that would turn into my career. Never. Like, at that point, I was like, oh, maybe I do like presenting, even though it's really scary. I kind of like facing that fear. Yeah. And then when TEDx came, I was like, oh my God, I don't have experience in this. I don't know how I'm going to do it. But I had so much training throughout the entire program that I did. Even my thesis, I had to present my thesis, which was like 1 hour long. And we had really good training for that. Our professors were there telling us how many how many ands we're saying, and all of it. And we couldn't look back to the screen. We had to know exactly each slide that was coming up, and we didn't have a screen in the front because they didn't want us to be looking downwards to the screen. So all these things that really trained me. And so when I went to TEDx, I just put into action all of these things I learned.
That's awesome. That's great training. It sounds like the master's was a built-in Toastmasters, basically.
Oh, yeah. And then I signed up for Toastmasters.
Oh, good. Yeah.
After TEDx, just to, see what else I can implement into my presentations to make them even better. And I just went for a couple of months, but I learned so much, even just by watching the other speakers or the other people present. I learned so much that if you watch my TEDx now and my World Domination speech, they're so different because I learned so much in between, and they're not even a year apart.
Yeah, I did go back and watch the TEDx as I was preparing for the interview, and I could see the difference. I mean, it's incredible. So yet again, another way that people can feel inspired and understand that you do the work, you set the intention, and you show up, and these things can happen. You can grow.
Exactly. Yes.
So I have just 2 more questions, but I wanted to give you a chance to let us know all the best places that we can go follow you, watch the videos, stay in contact, all of that.
Yeah, so definitely I would say subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Hello Fears. I will start this new series that will be mainly for teenage girls, but I feel like everyone will get inspired when they see these videos. And you know what I would encourage people to do? To write a letter to their younger selves and share that with me if possible, because it does make a difference, like when you start to think in this way. And yeah, so if they can email it to me, my email is michelle@hellofears.com. I would love to read those. And then they can also, if they have an experience they would like to share to inspire other people by any story of courage that they've done in the past, they can also email me their story, because I would love to upload that to hellofears.com, where I'm sharing stories from everyday people facing, everyday fears. And besides that, if they want to know more about my speaking, then they can go to michellepolar.com, where they can see my demo reel, learn more about my talk, and how they can bring me to their next event, hopefully.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, we'll have all of that in the show notes as well, so people can get easy access. So the last 2 questions, Michelle, I want to know, what is your definition of being bold or living a bold life?
So I feel that my definition of being bold is when you are honest with yourself to figure out what makes you genuinely happy, and then have the courage to pursue that dream. Like, it's not even a dream, it's just the life you can have and grab into your hands if you have that courage to go for it. But the first step to live a bold life is to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, this is not the life that I want. That's actually the life that would make me happy, and then making the decision to pursue that.
Awesome. I love that. And then the last question, what is your why?
What is my why? So my why is, because I've thought about this a lot, and it's really important for us to always keep that in mind, and everything that we do is based off of that, and that's actually how I started my project. So when I first started my project, my why was to become a braver person, which is very genuine and honest from my part. It's like, I want to become a braver person, and then I didn't care how or what I was going to do to get there, but that was my why. And so I felt good to know that I had that first. And now my why is to inspire others to become their braver selves. So everything that I do has to fall into that path. And mostly the younger generation, I'm passionate about them. So if I can inspire them to become their braver selves, then that would just make me so happy that I know my why will be fulfilled.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle, so much. It was so much fun connecting, and I can't wait to see the new series come out and to hopefully see you speak again down the line. That would be really awesome.
Yay! Well, thank you so much for having me. This was really awesome, and you're so great doing this. Awesome.
Thanks. That's a wrap. Thanks so much to Michelle for coming on today. Definitely be sure to check out her YouTube channel. She has some hilarious and really interesting videos documenting her journey through the 100 Days Without Fear. You can find the link to that along with all the other show notes at theboldlifemovement.com/047. Next week, I'm stoked to be bringing you my conversation with millionaire creative and new author, Bridgette Mayer. She just released her first book, The Art Cure, which is a memoir documenting her journey from foster care to fortune. She now helps other artists and creatives realize their potential and build 6- and 7-figure art-based businesses. She's really such an inspiration to me, and it was super fun getting to know her. So be sure to tune in next week.